What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of NBA action here on Tuesday, April 1st. We're going to break down every NBA game tonight. We're also going to look at 4 of my favorite MLB games on the slate. We're going to look at bets on the side and over under. Make sure you're checking the pin comment throughout the day to see if there are any changes as injury news and player availability is confirmed. Yesterday, guys, things are looking pretty good. We've got a very legitimate chance at a 3-0 day with the Heat minus 8.5, a blowout win there for Miami against a tanking opponent. With the Celtics minus 4.5, they handle things pretty comfortably there against the Memphis Grizzlies. We still got Houston plus 5 going on right now. They're up by 1 point midway through the third quarter there against the Lakers. So we'll see if they can hold on late. Obviously, they're playing on a back-to-back here, so maybe some tired legs will kick in. But right now, we feel pretty decent about the Houston Rockets. On the premium side, our MLB expert went absolutely nuts. Bro went 3-0 out there. He was on the Angels. They win that game against the Cardinals. He had the Rays on a 5-unit play there. The Rays cashed that one, and he had the Royals as a 3-unit play. So pretty solid stuff out there. Doesn't get a whole lot better than going 3-0. So definitely, guys, take a look at those premium picks over at somethespread.com. Get over there after you slam the like button here. There's a link down in the description. It'll take you right over to Something Spread where you can see our top confidence picks from our entire team of experienced cappers. Right now, our premium members are getting daily college basketball, NBA, NHL, UFC, and Major League Baseball plays. Major League Baseball, our most profitable sport the last 3 years in a row. At StumpTheSpread.com, you can get access to our exclusive free picks, free to use bet size calculators, and our premium top confidence picks, which might not always match what you see here in this video. Also, guys, get over there and sign up for our free email newsletter, which will get you free picks straight to your inbox every day and updates on results. Just make sure you're checking your spam folder. If you're a huge fan of what we do here every single day, you can sign up for our channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Channel members get exclusive early access to all of my videos and get their names up on screen in every video, and you get access to our members only giveaways. We'll be giving away at least one Stump the Spread hoodie here in April, maybe 2, depending on how many channel members we end up with. Guys, comment below with any bets you're looking at today or any other feedback you have for me, and I will personally respond. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Portland Trail Blazers going on the road to take on the Atlanta Hawks. Portland comes into this game 32-43 on the season, so not exactly killing it. They've dropped their last 4 in a row. They just got blown out there by the Knicks. They lost that one 110-93 at Madison Square Garden. So things not looking too hot for a Portland Trail Blazers team that, showed some fire late in the season there for a little bit, but things have gotten a little bit rough. They're clearly tanking things out. They've had some injuries, stuff like that. So it's been a little bit rougher here down the stretch. Looking at their injury report for this game, we see Jeremy Grant still looking like he's going to be out. Scoot Henderson still dealing with that concussion, and Anthony Simons on there listed as questionable with that forearm issue. It seems like they're really just kind of trying to hold guys out at this point for Portland. Not a team that's trying to win right now. Definitely a team that is trying to tank. Scoot officially ruled out for this game. No major shock there. Why would you rush a guy back? He's actually shown some promise so far this season, or at least in the second half of the year. So hopefully you guys haven't sold all of your stock there on Scoot Henderson. I think the dude still has a chance to be a pretty solid player, but this squad in general has some decent pieces on it. So we'll see if they can give the Atlanta Hawks a game. Portland obviously traveling to Atlanta for this one. The Hawks fresh off a blowout win there at Milwaukee. They took down the Bucks 145-124. Milwaukee team that is absolutely reeling. The Hawks, obviously a team that, trying to win games here. It looked like they were going to pack things in there at the trade deadline, but that has not been the case. They've moved all the way up to the 7th seed. They're 4 full games back of the Milwaukee Bucks for the 6th seed. So the idea of them catching Milwaukee here seems a little bit crazy, but maybe, it's not impossible. Milwaukee, obviously without Dame, not looking so hot. So we'll see what happens there. But the Hawks, 6-4 over their last 10, not looking too shabby. They come into this game looking, I would say, relatively healthy. The only guy on the injury report that we care about is Trae Young, and he's, always on there dealing with that, Achilles tendonitis. He's always listed as probable, and we fully expect him to play in this game. So do the odds makers. Apparently, the Hawks are 6.5-point favorites at home. We got a total of 238.5. Portland 19-17-1 against spread on the road, 20-22 against spread after a loss. Atlanta 17-19 against spread at home, 19-16 against spread after a win. This is a little bit of a tough spot. Portland maybe making some sort of statement here, or maybe not. That's too crazy. They're not making a statement, but maybe actually trying in this game. I could see them theoretically keeping it close, but really, guys, if you got a choice between a tanking team and a non-tanking team, I'm always going to lean towards a team that's actually trying to win games. So go ahead and give me the Atlanta Hawks. I think they find a way to win this game by 7 the majority of the time. Now, is it the vast majority of the time, which would allow us to put this in the pinned comment? Maybe. I would say it's got a chance, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, guys, we got a game that looked like it would be much more interesting earlier in the season, or maybe before the season even began, because the 76ers have been in a free fall pretty much all year long. They just lost their 8th straight game, falling 127-109 against Toronto. it's pretty clear, guys, the 76ers are just trying to lose games at this point. We're not going to do too deep of a dive on what they have going on in their loss to the Raptors. Obviously, they played almost no defense, giving up almost 130 points to Toronto is pretty wild stuff. Lonnie Walker IV did play well. He put up 23 points, shot the ball pretty efficiently, but not a lot of other positives to report. I guess Jalen Hood-Schifino putting up 18 off the bench is a decent look. As a team, though, they only shot 27% from three. They, kept things even on the boards, I guess, but this is not an NBA caliber squad that the 76ers are running out here. They are very, very clearly tanking. A problem the NBA is facing right now for sure, but right now we'll just go ahead and try and take advantage of that where we can, because the 76ers definitely not a team that's trying to win right now. We see Tyrese Maxey out, Kelly Oubre Jr. out, no shock there. We do see Quentin Grimes probably going to play in this game, and other than that, the 76ers are looking pretty healthy. So that's a little bit surprising, to be honest. Maybe there will be some late breaking news and they'll hold some dudes out, but it appears the 76ers are going to play kind of their best available squad right now. Not something they've been doing lately. So we'll see what that translates to here as they go on the road to take on the New York Knicks, who are fresh off of a nice win against the Blazers. They've actually won 4 out of their last 5 games, which is a nice step in the right direction. Against Portland, guys, in that win, we saw OG Anunoby actually lead the way, putting up 28 points and 11 of 16 shooting. So that's pretty impressive stuff. As a team, the Knicks shot 40% from 3, only shot 25 threes, though, not getting up a huge volume of 3-point shots. Cat putting up only 10 points is definitely concerning. A bad night from him, but yeah, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby both putting up 28 is nice. Precious Achiuwa and Landry Shamet each scoring in double digits off the bench. That is a big step in the right direction for a pretty mediocre Knicks bench. So we'll see how things go down the stretch here for the Knicks. Obviously, they're still, not going to have Jalen Brunson, not going to have Miles McBride, not going to have Cam Payne. So that's not super helpful for the bench, but it looked okay out there. Brunson, guys, he's been cleared for basketball activities, so that's nice. He's feeling better, though. No real timetable for his return. They just want him to be fully healthy when the playoffs start. And I don't think they want to wait too long. You need to get him back in game shape. But right now, no reason to run him out there against the tanking 76ers. Miles McBride dealing with that groin issue. He has been ruled out. And Cameron Payne, guys, with his ankle issue, also ruled out. So looking at the numbers for this one, the Knicks, huge favorites. 14.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 223.5. The 76ers, 14-23-1 against spread on the road. 14-36-1 against spread after a loss. The Knicks 18-18-1 against spread at home, 20-25-1 against the spread after a win. This is too many points. I honestly think this is too many points. Quentin Grimes actually playing the 76ers, playing, the best players that they have available to them right now, and I don't think they're going to win necessarily, although the Knicks have lost worse games this season. I think the 76ers find a way to keep this game close. It's a little bit of a rivalry spot. These guys for the 76ers, especially guys like, Yabusele, Quentin Grimes, Lonnie Walker IV, they're trying pretty hard out there. And I think that results in the 76ers possibly even keeping this to single digits. But 14.5 points, just way too many. Go ahead and give me the 76ers, although it does not feel very fun. Next up, guys, a game that is going to be on TNT and is not looking like they would have hoped. We've got the Phoenix Suns going on the road to take on the Milwaukee Bucks. The Suns 35-40 on the season. They are fresh off of another loss, guys. They've lost, 3 in a row. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They are a full game behind the Sacramento Kings in that race to see who's going to make it into the last play-in spot out there in the West. So things not looking great for the Phoenix Suns, and it went from bad to worse with Kevin Durant going down. It's pretty bad, guys. He's going to miss at least a week. It was not a mild ankle sprain. The MRI came back okay, apparently, but yeah, it's not going to be great. Not going to be great. The Suns haven't necessarily had a great time this season without him, and yeah, fresh off of 3 straight losses. When you're losing to the Celtics, Timberwolves, and Rockets, those aren't horrifying losses, but they've got a really rough schedule the rest of the way, so we'll see what goes on. This game against the Milwaukee Bucks, definitely one that they, I would say, desperately need. Looking at the injury report, guys, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant going to be out. Everybody else healthy, but everybody else really doesn't amount to much for this team. You're starting Booker, Ryan Dunn, Nick Richards, and then who? What's your great... they've got nobody. This team not looking great. They're going on the road to take on a team that's not looking great also in the Milwaukee Bucks, who've now lost their last 4 in a row. They're 40-34 on the season. The Bucks find themselves, dealing with that Dame Lillard situation, and they're now, only 4 games up on the Atlanta Hawks in the battle for the 6/7 seed. So the Bucks only 4-6 over their last 10 games as well. Things not looking great, getting blown out 145-124 by the Atlanta Hawks. In that game, we saw Giannis put up 31 very efficient points, even shot the ball okay from the free throw line, but just not enough out there. 25 from Kuzma, who's stepping up, playing a little bit better, being more assertive offensively. 28 off the bench from Kevin Porter Jr. just not enough there in the end. They shot 43 free throws in this game. Like, it just didn't make a difference, guys. They got out-rebounded significantly. They didn't shoot the ball spectacularly from three, and just no love here for the Milwaukee Bucks, who don't play defense anymore, which is, not obviously ideal. Looking at their injury report, Giannis is on there, AJ Green's out there, but we do pretty much consistently expect Giannis to play in this game. AJ Green, not somebody that moves the needle for me a ton. He's questionable due to that right AC joint sprain. So we'll see if he plays, but that doesn't really move the needle for me. The problem for this squad is no Damian Lillard. That's kind of what they built this situation around. They need Dame, they need Giannis, and if they don't have them, things look pretty bleak. Now, the Bucks are 7-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 224.5. Phoenix, 15-22 against spread on the road, 20-19 against spread after a loss. They are 2-11 straight up this season without Kevin Durant. The Milwaukee Bucks, 18-18-1 against the spread at home, 15-17-1 against spread after a loss. They are 8-8 straight up this season without Dame. This is a bit of a tough spot. I'm going to be taking the Bucks here at -7. I'm a little bit worried to put it in the pinned comment. If you want to just throw the Bucks in there as straight up winners, I can understand that as well. But this is a tough spot, guys. I'm not going to lie. I want to take the Bucks because the Suns have been so bad without KD, and they seem like a team that'd be pretty depressed. But the Bucks kind of are in the same situation right now. So this game, very unlikely to go in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Orlando Magic going on the road to take on the San Antonio Spurs. The Magic come into this game 36-40 on the year, fresh off a tough 96-87 loss there against the Clippers. Orlando 36-40 on the year, but nowhere near the team they were hoping to be in the early goings when they were absolutely killing it. They're sitting in the 8th seed, one game back of Atlanta there for the 7th seed, but pretty much out of reach of the 6th seed unless the Bucks lose out. But we'll see what happens down the stretch. Orlando not going to be a super fun team for anybody to face in the play-in, I wouldn't say. In that game against the Clippers, though, putting up only 87 points. Kind of embarrassing. We saw Paolo put up 26 points, but he was only 8 of 23 from the field, and him and Franz Wagner really the only serviceable offensive players on this entire squad. So they have to play really, really well and really efficiently, and they went 2 of 15 from 3 in that game. That's not going to cut it, guys. They're going to have to shoot the ball a lot better for distance because they're also probably the best three-point shooters on this team. Like, it's just not going great. KCP did go 3 of 3 from three-point range. Like, that's cool, but you only scored 11 points. They need more offensively, and they've needed more offensively from him all season long. They just haven't got it. So things not looking great for Orlando. There's no doubt about that. In terms of their injury report, they come into this looking the same as they've looked recently. Cole Anthony's still not going to be out there, but other than that, they are healthy. We've seen Anthony Black be good at different points this season. Maybe he can help. Gary Harris, never been that gifted of an offensive player. So there's just not a lot of great options out there for Orlando. They're not a very good offensive team. That's just the truth, plain and simple. So we'll see what they can do here on the road against a tanking opponent for sure. The San Antonio Spurs, 31-43 on the year. They've lost their last 4 in a row, albeit those were against playoff teams. They just got obliterated by 42 against the Warriors. So that's obviously not a great look. San Antonio, obviously not a team that's, has playoff aspirations, or at least didn't once Victor Wembanyama went down. And kind of after that whole Fox Wembanyama thing didn't take off immediately, things are looking pretty bleak. So we'll see what they do in the future. But right now, things not looking amazing there for the Spurs. So we'll see what they do in this one. Against the Warriors, do we really get, anything great out there from anybody? It doesn't really feel like it, guys. 19 points off the bench from Keldon Johnson, really the only bright spot. They got crushed on the boards and just not a very good night overall. They played very little defense in that game. The Spurs, in terms of the injury report coming to this one, healthy, but that doesn't really matter right now. You're playing Sohan at center. You're still starting Chris Paul at point guard. There's not a lot of positives lurking on this roster at this exact moment. So, looking at the numbers, the Spurs actually getting 4 points in this game. We've got a total of 219 out there. Orlando, 17-20 against spread on the road, 7-5 against the spread on no rest. The Spurs, 19-19 against spread at home, 23-19 against the spread after a loss. This is a tough spot, guys. I want to side with the Orlando Magic because the Spurs are kind of soft tanking, but they're not one of those super aggressively tanking teams. So I'm not sure if we can put this in the pinned comment. Orlando is in a bounce back spot, and they desperately need these wins. So they should be by far the hungrier team here, but can I trust it enough to put in the pinned comment? We'll have to wait and see, guys. We do have plenty more games on the slate and some baseball to look at. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Toronto Raptors going on the road to take on the Chicago Bulls. The Raptors come into this game, shockingly enough, winners over the last 4 in a row. Now, when your wins are against the Wizards, Nets, Hornets, and 76ers, I don't think it's time to freak out too much or throw you a party. I would say the front office probably a little irritated that they're winning these games, but when you're playing opponents that are so bad, you got to play part of your squad, and this squad is starting to build into something pretty interesting. RJ Barrett went out there and put up a 31-piece, despite going only 3 of 8 from the free throw line. That was pretty weird, but in general, it was just a pretty good game out there. Jacoby Walter put up 17 points. A couple double-digit scores coming off the bench. The Raptors shot 45% from three, not something you see from them every day. They kept things even on the boards against, obviously the, C squad there from the 76ers. But yeah, Scotty Barnes even having a bad day, and we still see the Raptors get the comfortable win. And we were on the Raptors in that game, so we're not going to complain too much. But we'll see what they can do in this one. Obviously not a team that's supposed to necessarily be winning games right now, but I guess they're going to let it happen occasionally. We see Quickly going to play, Scotty Barnes going to play, Jakob Poeltl going to play, but Grady Dick and RJ Barrett looking like they will both be sidelined almost for sure. Is it for sure? Yeah. Grady Dick for sure sidelined. RJ Barrett will sit out due to rest. So yeah, that's pretty wild. But whatever, what are you going to do? They're going on the road here to take on the Chicago Bulls, who are fresh off kind of an embarrassing loss there against the Thunder. They've lost their last 2 in a row, so that, hot streak where they had won 4 in a row has come to a screeching halt. The Bulls are 5 games up on the Toronto Raptors in that race for the 10 seed out there in the East, so they're fine. They don't have to be too worried, but what they really have to be worried about right now is getting, things back to normal in terms of their, roster strength, but we'll see how that goes. Obviously, the Bulls definitely far and away not at full strength there against the Thunder. They didn't even play their starters full minutes in that game. It got out of hand so fast. Josh Giddey did end up playing in that game, put up 15 points, but the Thunder just way too good, winning by almost, just a runaway margin, 145 to 117. Like, come on, guys, that is pretty crazy work. So we'll see if the Bulls have a bounce back in them. I mean, the game before that, they lost by 1 against the Mavericks. In terms of their injury report, it's looking like Lonzo Ball, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter all on there. Now, are any of those guys going to make it onto the floor here? It sounds like Lonzo Ball, he's officially ruled out for Monday's game. Will he be playing here on the second half of a back-to-back? Seems kind of unlikely. Bro hasn't played since back on February 28th. Trey Jones, he's still, waiting. It's going to be another, I would say, 4 or 5 days until he's reevaluated. So he's not going to be out there. And Kevin Huerter, guys, has been ruled out due to a right thumb sprain. If you're a shooter and that thumb don't work, you're not going to be shooting the ball very well. So not a lot of positives right now for the Chicago Bulls in terms of that injury report. I guess it's good to see Giddey off of it. They come into this game, guys, 5.5 point favorites. We got a total of 237.5. Toronto 23-14 against the spread on the road, 18-9 against spread after a win. Chicago 18-1 against spread at home, 3-8 this season against spread on no rest. This feels a little bit crazy, but we're taking the tanking team again. Give me the Toronto Raptors here, getting 5.5 points. I think this is a very, very good play. Will it end up as a premium pick at Stump the Spread? I would say it's got a chance. The Raptors, they just have talent. And the Bulls, how much talent do they have right now? It's a little bit questionable. They don't have a bench. Do the Raptors have a bench? I don't know. But should the Bulls be 5.5 point favorites against anyone right now? Seems very questionable to me. We also have Scotty Barnes in a bounce back spot, so maybe that's helpful. Definitely give me the Raptors in this one, getting 5.5. Next up, guys, we got something of a rivalry game that I cannot believe didn't end up on TNT. We've got the Golden State Warriors going on the road to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. The Warriors come into this game playing well. Winners of 2 in a row. Obviously got that blowout win there against the San Antonio Spurs, so that has to feel pretty great. Ever since that Jimmy Butler trade, things have really turned around for Golden State. They are for sure pointed in the right direction now. Definitely going to be a tough out for anybody in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs, so we'll see how that goes. Podziemski actually led the team in scoring in that blowout there against the Spurs, putting up 27 points. Obviously, the Warriors, no need to play guys like Steph or Jimmy or, anybody really, their full increment of minutes. We saw Steph, only put up 13 points in that game, but very, relatively efficient shooting and was a plus 24. So no major concerns there. Moody putting up a 20 piece. Jimmy Butler doing his thing out there, but not having to go crazy. And yeah, just a lot of positive numbers out there for the Warriors, who shot the ball really well from 3, really well from the field in general, and did a great job on the board. So a dominant win there. Golden State has to be feeling pretty good, and their situation just kind of continues to improve out there. Right now, they're in the 6th seed. They're only a half game back of the Grizzlies, who they're about to play for the 5 seed. They're only 2 games back of the Lakers, who are also not having a great time. Golden State 7-3 over their last 10 games. They come into this one looking, I would say, pretty darn healthy. I mean, obviously, Gary Payton II still out. Kuminga is on the injury report, but he hasn't been a big deal since coming back. He's dealing with a pelvic contusion. He's questionable for this game. To be honest, I would almost prefer that he didn't play, but we'll see what happens. They can use his athleticism at times. They're going to take on a Grizzlies team that is in a free fall. Turns out firing their coach, not going to be the magic elixir. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They've lost 7 out of their last 10. It's not turning around anytime soon. They are very much in danger of falling into the play-in tournament out there in the West. something that would have seemed impossible for a Memphis team that seemed destined to get the 2 seed, despite the fact they can't beat anyone good this season. Last night against the Celtics, they lost 117-103 in a game that wasn't really that close. I mean, Memphis did really get victimized there by, an insanely hot shooting night from the Celtics, who put up, 62 threes. They made 21 of them, so I guess it's not that insanely hot of a shooting night, but it just felt like there was no way that Memphis was going to win this game. Like, Al Horford went off for 26 points. We saw Ja playing some pretty extreme defense. He had a good night, putting up 26 points. Jaren Jackson Jr. put up 20. Bane, 12 points, 1 of 5 from 3. As a team, Memphis shot 11 of 44 from long range. That's not going to get the job done. They also got out rebounded. Like, the wheels are kind of coming off right now for the Memphis Grizzlies, and it's not looking great. Obviously, their injury report not going to be fully updated coming off, playing in a back-to-back here, but I do pretty much expect everybody to play in what borderline amounts to a must-win game right now for Memphis. They're getting 3.5 points here. We've got a total of 237.5. The Warriors, 19, 16, and 2 against the spread on the road, 17, 24, and 1 against the spread after a win. Memphis, 19 and 18 against the spread at home, 8 and 5 against the spread on no rest, but I can't justify taking the Memphis Grizzlies right now under almost any circumstances. They're terrible. Like, it's just not working out for them. The coaching change didn't, give the spark that they were probably hoping for. The Warriors are playing really well right now. They're well rested coming into this game. Also, with the guys having to not play their full increment of minutes their last time out, give me the Warriors here to win this game by 4 or maybe by 40, because things are not looking very good right now for the Memphis Grizzlies, who are going to be tired coming off a tough game against Boston. Next game, guys, in the TNT nightcap, we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves going on the road to take on those Denver Nuggets. The Timberwolves come into this game winners of 3 out of their last 4, but fresh off of a pretty crazy fight there with those Pistons. That was pretty wild stuff. Definitely feels very much like a Pistons team that's not worried about fighting people. They seem pretty down. They seem pretty ready to get in a shoving match. A couple guys that come to mind pretty immediately are, who the main culprits are, but the Timberwolves get the last laugh with that 123-104 win. They'll definitely take that. Minnesota finds themselves in the 7 seed. They're one of those squads that's hoping that the Grizzlies' free fall continues and they can move up out of the play-in. Right now, they're only a half game back of those Golden State Warriors, so I'm sure they feel like they've got a good chance. In that win against the Pistons, we saw pretty good stuff out there from Julius Randle, Anthony Edwards. A relatively efficient shooting night, was a +5 out there, scored 25 points. The bench continues to flounder a little bit, but if you're going to shoot 40% from the field and crush your opponents on the boards, things are usually going to look pretty good. So Timberwolves have to be feeling nice about where they're at right now. In general, maybe not, amazing since they are still in the play-in, but they've got a chance to move out of the play-in. We'll see if there's any, changes to this injury report. Apparently, Dante DiVincenzo not going to be suspended for his role in that scuffle. We'll find out. We'll see what happens, though. Yeah, he obviously got ejected there, but maybe he's not going to be suspended. We'll see what happens, but right now it appears that everybody's going to be available there for the Timberwolves as they go on the road to take on the Denver Nuggets, who are 47-28 on the year. They're currently sitting in the 3 seed, a couple games back of the Houston Rockets. We saw the Nuggets, a blowout when they're against the Jazz. Yeah, that's kind of what you expect against a tanking team. Obviously, Jokic putting up amazing numbers, throwing crazy passes, making these wild one-handed buzzer beaters from like half court or farther. Like, dude can do it all, and by the numbers, he should be the MVP. I understand that SGA is the best player on the best team, but Jokic's numbers are pretty off the freaking charts. So we'll see what the voters do there. I really don't think there's a wrong answer, but right now, the Nuggets, a team much more focused on health than they are on winning games. Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon, and Jokic all on the injury report for this game. So this is going to be fishy to try and figure out. Apparently, Murray with his hamstring issue did go through Monday's practice, but if Murray's feeling that hamstring, I would think they would bubble wrap him until the playoffs. I could be wrong about that. Christian Brown with his foot is probable for this game. Aaron Gordon questionable due to an illness and that right calf injury management. So I'd be kind of surprised to see him play. Jokic dealing with his ankle issue. Sounds like he is going to play. So we'll see what happens there. But obviously a banged up Nuggets team. In the season series here, we've seen the Timberwolves win all 3 games. They won on January 11th, January 25th, and on March 12th. So are they going to be able to win this one? Well, we'll see. We'll see who the Nuggets actually have out there. The odds makers think that Denver's going to play a good chunk of their guys. Apparently, the Nuggets are -2.5. We've got a total of 230.5. Minnesota 19-17 against spread on the road, 20-22 against spread after a win. Denver 17-19-1 against spread at home, 21-24-1 against spread after a win. I'm going to be on the Minnesota Timberwolves getting 2.5 points for now. Keep a close eye on that pin comment. This isn't going in there yet. I need to know who's going to be available for this game for both teams. We see some Timberwolves that I'm not expecting to get suspended for that fight, or something weird like that happen, or if the Nuggets, magically end up playing all those guys we just listed on the, injury report, that could change a lot. But right now, I think Minnesota, who's shown they're a pretty good matchup for this Denver Nuggets team, is my play in this one. Now, guys, hopping over to the Major League Baseball side of things, working some baseball picks in there for all of you MLB junkies. Don't worry, soon we'll be doing baseball full time, but right now, when we've got basketball, we kind of want to keep rolling with the basketball, at least for a little bit here. First up, we've got the New York Mets going on the road to take on the Miami Marlins. We saw the Mets get the nice 10-4 win there thanks to a Pete Alonso grand slam. That's pretty helpful to get the game 1 win there at Miami. So starting that series off on the right side there for the Mets, who are now 2-2 on the season. I don't think they're too disappointed with this start. Obviously, they would like to have done a little bit better there against the Astros. That's a pretty low-scoring series. Now with a 10 spot on the board, they're hoping the Bats can continue to heat up. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Kodai Sanaga. He's 1-0, or went 1-0 last season with a 3.38 ERA. So they're hoping for big things from this 32-year-old out of Japan. Obviously somebody that they're, very, very excited about. We'll see what he can do this season, see how things look overall. Obviously, a big right, or not a big right here, the kind of the stereotypical, Japanese pitcher coming out, pretty tricky stuff. We'll see what he can do. We'll see what he can do out there. It's going to be very interesting. Obviously, the Mets very much hoping that this dude can be a huge, huge part of them having, a very, very big season here. So we'll see what the Mets can do here on the road against these Miami Marlins, who are fresh off that loss, but got their season off to a pretty good start, winning 3 out of 4 there against the Padres. Obviously dropping game 1 here against the Mets. Not the plan, but the Marlins being above 500, that feels a little bit miraculous. So they'll certainly take that. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Cindy Alcantara. He comes into this game fresh off of, he's making his second start of the season. He started there against the Pirates back on the 27th. Not a bad outing. I wouldn't say it's a miracle outing necessarily. 4 2/3 innings, a couple of hits, a couple of earned runs. He did strike out 4. He did also, or strike out 7. He also walked 4. So that's obviously not ideal, but he did help his team to that 5-4 win. So he'll definitely take that, even though he doesn't figure in the result. This dude, a big right-hander, a power thrower out of the Dominican Republic. We'll see what he can do throughout the season, see how long he's in this Marlins rotation, because they're going to be moving things around like crazy. That's kind of their MO at this point, as they try and figure out what they want to do with this franchise in general. But we'll see what they can get done, see if those bats can get back to what they were doing there against the Pirates. I mean, right off the bat here, they're above average offensively. We'll see if they can hold on to that number. The odds makers have them as sizable underdogs. The Mets are -148. The Marlins are +135. The Mets are -1.5 at +110. And we've got a total of 7.5 here. The Mets 1-2 on the road, 2-1 against the spread, and 3-0 to the under. Miami 3-1 at home, 3-1 against the spread, 2-2 there to the over-under. This is a little bit of an interesting spot, guys. It's tough to figure out what we're really going to get out of Senga. This is a good spot to, go ahead and back the Marlins. You got a guy making his second start of the season against a guy making his first start of the season. You could even take the Marlins +1.5, I suppose. But right now, guys, I think we're just going to go ahead and fire on the Marlins at +135 as a small lean. Is this going to go in the pinned comment? I don't think I want to put the Marlins in the pinned comment just yet, but it's definitely one you could think about. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Texas Rangers going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Reds. The Rangers got off to a pretty bad start to this series, guys. They went into Cincinnati and got lambasted 14-3. So, yeah, not exactly what they were hoping for. Kind of brutal. But what are you going to do? They're still 3-2 on the season. They got off to a nice start there in their series against the Red Sox, winning 3 out of 4. So you definitely can't be too upset about that. They're going to be hitting the ball to their ace, I guess, at least right now, ace Nathan Eovaldi. He hasn't figured in a result this season in his one start against the Red Sox. He had a very nice outing, guys. There's nothing wrong with 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, and no walks against a team like the Boston Red Sox. Like, that's good, guys. That's very, very good. You definitely put your team in a position to win. Not his fault that they end up losing that game 5-2. So we'll see if he's got another good start in on. This guy's obviously a veteran. He knows what he's doing out there. Pitching in the Great American Ballpark, not really the easiest thing to do, but overall, guys, I'm usually going to go into a game expecting Nathan Eovaldi to have a good outing. So we'll see how things play out there, see if the Rangers can reawaken the bats. Obviously, only 3 runs there against the Reds. In their first game of the series, not what you're hoping for. So we'll see what they can do here against the Reds, who are 2-2 on the season. They went 1-2 there against the Giants, but getting off to a great start here at home in this series, taking down the Rangers, putting up that 14-piece. De La Cruz put up 4 hits, a career-high 7 RBIs in that one. Wild stuff. Bro's getting off to a hot start. He's batting at .348 here in the very, very early goings. Now, can he hold on to this? Can he keep going? I mean, he was Tim Kurkjian's, or the Reds were Tim Kurkjian's surprise MLB team to watch for the 2025 season. I'm going to need to see a little bit more here before I start buying into that too much. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Carson Spears, who's coming off, he's making his first start of the season, correct. Yeah, he didn't have a great year last year, a 5.46 ERA. That's not exactly what you're hoping to see. This tall right-hander out of Greenville, South Carolina, we'll see. We'll see what this guy can do. Was a relief pitcher in a large part of last season. He's, their fifth starter here since Abbott's on the IL. We'll see how that goes. The Reds were a pretty good bullpen at a lot of points last season. Maybe Spears can be a part of this rotation if he really goes out there and knocks their socks off. So we'll see how that goes. See if the Reds' red-hot bats can continue to look so good. The odds makers like the Rangers here, though. Texas, minus 142. The Reds, plus 120. Texas, minus 1.5 is plus 118. We've got a total here of 8.5. Texas, this is their first road series. They're 1-3 against the spread, and they're 4-0 to the under. Cincinnati, 1-2 at home, 0-3 against the spread. They are 2-1 to the over. This is another kind of tough spot, guys. I'm going to be siding with the Rangers. I think Eovaldi gets the job done. I think we see the Cincinnati bats cool off a lot against him, and I think we see the Rangers have a good day there at the plate. But will it be an amazing day? Not amazing enough that I'm going to take them minus 1.5, but I do think the Rangers minus 142 is very, very reasonable. Last but not least here, guys, we're looking at the Washington Nationals going on the road to take on the Toronto Blue Jays. The Nationals not up to their best start and didn't get this series off to a best start at all, losing 5-2 there in Game 1. Not ideal. This Nationals team, not a team that's slated to really have a great time in the NL East or just overall, but we'll see what they can do. Obviously not a very fun game for them, to get things started off there in Toronto. So we'll see if they can turn it around by hitting the ball to Trevor Williams, who went 6-1 last season, a 2.03 ERA, a very good year. Obviously, he didn't, play for a large majority of the season, but we'll see what happens. A solid pitcher a season ago. Big right-hander, we'll see what he can get done. He's a veteran. If he's healthy, I expect good stuff from him. The Nationals bats, do I expect good stuff from those? We'll see. We'll see. The jury is still out. I would definitely lean towards no, but they're not going up against the best team out there. They're taking on the Toronto Blue Jays, who are 3-2 on the season. They split a 4-game series to start the year against the Orioles, so that's not bad. They're coming off a 5-2 win there in Game 1 of this series, so things overall looking pretty decent. They're a top 10 offensive team here in the super early goings, and they're handing the ball to their opening day starter, Jose Berrios, who got off to a horrible start. Not looking very good there against Baltimore. So we'll see what he looks like here against Toronto. He gave up 9 hits, 6 earned runs, and 3 home runs there against Baltimore. And a game I'm sure he would be more than happy to forget. So we'll see if he can forget it. We'll see if the Toronto bullpen can look better than it did a year ago. The odds makers like Toronto in this one. The Nationals plus 135, Toronto minus 152. If you take Toronto minus 1.5, you can get him at plus 136. Definitely not doing that. We've got a total of 8.5. Washington, this is their first road series. Obviously, they're 1-2 against the spread, 2-1 to the over. Toronto, 2-2. At home this year, 2-2 against the spread, 3-1 to the over themselves. Maybe you could take over 8.5. I'm not going to be doing that. I think the Nationals plus 135 is the value side of this one. Berrios obviously getting off to a terrible start, but that's mostly due to how good I think Trevor Williams could be in this season in general. Like, bro got healthy last year, and when he was in there, he looked great. So I'm taking the Nationals here at plus 135. Sneaky spot to maybe end up in the pinned comment. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're getting over to stumpthespread.com. Check out those red hot premium MLB picks going 3-0 yesterday, printing a ton of units. And we will see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.